My name is Steve Neill, and I've worked in motion picture effects 35 years on everything from Star Trek the Motion Picture to Ghostbusters Fright Night, and I never listened to the GNT show.
GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discussion is advice. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Are friends with benefits?
Speaking of having a good time, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Dayton broke the G&T show. This is now the David Mack
Appreciation Hour. You assholes.
What is it about this guy that people love him so much?
With his purple velvet cape and his crown. I thought it was a little much when he had us carry him in the studio on a throne. I am awesome! Look what I have done! Look what I have brought upon the world!
There is an urge to go nya.
I heard rumors that you might be working on something else, but we won't pry much. I was going to say it.
I'm going to pry a little.
Dare you! How dare you ask me to change it? Do you not understand the majesty of my genius? And the guy sitting next to me looked at me like he was, like I'd cramped in his hat.
Yeah, it's the professionalism that sells the show. That's right.
And Jolan True, welcome to yet another of the G&T Supplemental Log. This week, we are very thrilled to have with us someone from another side of the motion picture business and television business to discuss a different era of storytelling, Mr. Steve Neill. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you. Be here.
And if you look around the studio, of course, my left, your right today, there she is, looking stunning in her Slimer outfit. But we'll talk about that, Terry. Nice. And my right, your left, there he is. He tries so hard, but I don't know. Dressing as a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man mixed with a Klingon just doesn't work. Ceridium.
Kapla! And this is what happens when you cross the streams.
Well, welcome to our show, sir.
Welcome to our show, Mr. Neill. We're really grateful that you decided to come and join us this week. We're really excited because, as I said in the pre-show, we haven't had the opportunity to speak with somebody in the visual arts makeup realm of movie and television making before, and especially somebody who's worked on Star Trek. So you can imagine we're pretty damn tickled.
My first question for you would be, your business has gotten a lot of visibility lately with a show that I personally love called Face Off. How do you feel about that? And do you think that helps raise a level of awareness for some of the things you do?
I don't think it was necessary to do that because the people who are really fanatical about makeup effects, the people that I know, they live, eat, breathe, and sleep it, and especially the guys that are trying to get into the field. And there's so many talented guys out there and girls, and they're trying to get into the field. They work very hard. The Face Off is good for that. I really only watched a few parts of a few of the shows because, like my good friend Doug Drexler, we both started doing makeup effects. And ironically, he started on the East Coast with Dick Smith, and I started on the West Coast with John Chambers, who you will know, the man who created the makeup for Planet of the Apes and so many other movies. But as time went by, I always wanted to do more work that dealt with doing hard science fiction, realistic space movies, and working on models, miniatures, and visual effects, that kind of thing. And so did Doug. And eventually, we both started to pursue that part of our careers. I haven't done any make effects in years. I can't really recall the last time I worked on a show and actually put prosthetics or made prosthetics for an actor and actress. I'm drawing a blank. So I much prefer what the work I'm doing now is what I always wanted to do more of when I was working in Hollywood so much back in the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. But it's not over. There's more work coming up for me, and this time I'm being kind of moved to a higher level, actually a producer level, pretty prestigious project that unfortunately I'm not at liberty to talk about right now, but it is good science fiction, I can tell you that.
Oh, my disappointment. My disappointment. He can't talk about it.
Can you at least give us a title of project?
No, I really can't.
Okay.
Okay. I said the title would give it away, and I'd piss off people that I'm working with on it. So it will come to light of day, though. But when they want you not to talk about it, don't. That's the way it works. So.
Well, then we're forewarning you now. When that project is able to be discussed,
right,
we want to bring you back back onto the show so we can talk about.
All right. And, so I'll be putting, more and more I'll be putting my producer hat on because with all the year experience I've had now in visual effects and working well with visual effects, I'm 61 now and I'm full of piss and vinegar still, and I've accumulated enough experience and knowledge to, I think, handle that position.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's great. I'm very excited. That's wonderful.
Cool.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, I guess let's start from the beginning. You said that you started off in makeup. How was it that you kind of got what you would consider your big break?
Well, I came down to Los Angeles, I think 73 or 74, somewhere in there, and I went to an Equicon. I don't know if you guys know what that is. They were the original Star Trek conventions, the really good Star Trek conventions. And I met a lot of people there who introduced me to people in the industry. So I went back home up to San Francisco, and I got better at what I was doing, sculpting, molding, prosthetics. And I came back, and one of the first people I met, Rick Van Baker, we became friends, and he gave me a lot of my first breaks.
Oh my God! I grew up reading about him in Fangoria and Movie Monster magazines and things like. Oh,
right.
Sorry, I just had a nerdgasm.
That's okay. I've been to both magazines too. If you go back and look there, you'll find in there the various movies that I did. Pictures of
I've got box in my parents' basement with all my old issues, so you know that next time I'm in Connecticut, I'm going to be going through.
Yeah.
I didn't get a basement. I'm jealous. We didn't have basements in LA.
No, I don't have one either. But anyway, time went by, and I did some jobs. Rick gave me a job working with Larry Cohen, who I went on to make a lot of these with. But somewhere in there, and I forget exactly how, but I got into the makeup union. I started working with Bob Schiffer, who was head of makeup at Disney Studios in Burbank for like 50 years.
Right.
Every movie, every Birdman, Alcatraz, he did it. All of those things. He was a great guy, and he had a job he wanted to do, doing a Shaggy dog makeup for a kids movie. Now, of course, he did all the usual Shaggy dog makeups for movies, and so contractually by Disney, he was bound not to be able to do any other Shaggy dog type stuff. So he gave the job to show me basically how he did it, and then it got to me being on the set to apply it. Well, the union rules in those days were you had to have so many hours and so many days.
So in other words, you got Taft-Hartley'd in?
No, I could not work the set. I could make the So I found out who was on the list to work, and it was Fred Phillips. Fred B. Phillips. The Fred Phillips. The Fred Phillips did all the makeup on Our Women Star Trek. So I called Fred up and I said, Fred, I was very geeked out too at that time. You want to do this job? I have prosthetics. I can't work the set. He said, well, sure, I can do the work right now. So we hit it off. He is a wonderful human being. I mean, just what a guy Fred Phillips was. And he did that show, and we stayed in touch after. One day, I got this phone call, and it was from Fred. He said, Steve, you want to work on Star Trek? And I laughed, and I said, there is no Star Trek. It's been off the air for how long now? We got a movie. And that was all hush-hush then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right, because that was during the whole phase 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so he said, you need to report to work next week, 7 o'clock on Monday at Paramount. And that's what I did. I went there. The first job he gave me was to Leonard's ears.
Oh, wow.
He gave a pair of Leonard's unused prosthetics that were foam latex from the molds that John Chambers did, who I would meet later to start to work with. And he said, I want you to make these exactly the same as what they were in the TV show. And that's what I did. And one night I was there late, and I was sculpting away. My light walked suddenly by someone standing in my light, a shadow, a very tall shadow, and a voice rang out, are those my ears? I turned around and I looked up, backlit by this. I remember every detail. You're backlit by this light. There he was. God himself, Leonard Neill.
How awesome.
It went from there.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Amazing.
I did other things. I did that Billy Zan, I think is his name. I did the bubble-headed boy and the alien rig, a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, the one with the glowing eyes who gives the quick what for to about that now the odds of coming back alive.
Yeah. Well, I was a big fan of This Island Earth. Wasn't that makeup that's a direct, sort of rip off of that, but just finer done,
Which are a little trivia for our audience. And you know what classic comedy sketch This Island Earth inspired? Are you aware?
No, I'm not.
The Coneheads.
Oh, geez.
Oh, interesting.
Because the writers were I'm trying to remember who it was. I want to say it was, I'm trying to remember which of the Saturday Night Live writers, but he was stoned and watching TV and laughing at how the heads of the aliens went like above the top of little black and white TV. And he thought, how funny would it be if there was a show about pinhead lawyers with heads like that? And that was kind of the genesis of the Coneheads.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a riot.
And ironically, I went on to work with a lot of those guys in Ghostbusters.
Please talk about that because I'm going to say something to you I've never said to any of our guests. I'm really having a nerdgasm because you've worked with the greatest actor in Hollywood ever, Bill Murray.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Olive Reed. Well, Bill was just a real quiet guy. He would come in the morning and he'd come over to me and look at some of the work I was doing and go, "Wow, that's neat." That's about all I ever got out of him. Dan Aykroyd was a lot more talkative, and
well, he's Canadian.
Yeah, no, he's tremendous. And,
what a kick!
And call him Bill. You don't understand the fact that I've talked to somebody who calls Bill Murray Bill. That is like.
Oh, he's having such a geekgasm right now. It's adorable.
Now, Sigourney,
it really is
a different thing.
Well, that's
She was terrific at work, and I haven't heard in more recent times the most pleasant things about her. People that have had to work with her, but of course, so much of that kind of thing is probably based on information we don't have. Because my experience, and the same thing with William Shatner too. When I was in the makeup room every day with William Shatner, and there was Leonard and all the cast standing in the makeup room, all costume, uniform, made up, and there's Bill sitting in the makeup chair and Fred's working on him, and Nimoy's joking about his shoes, and I come in and he sorry, goes, "Oh, how you doing today?" Well, he was so nice that he always nice, but I had a sort of a shoe-in because I made this movie called, terrible title that had was The Daytime, and originally entitled Vortex, but the powers that be who know more, they have money, changed that. I got his wife, Marcy Lafferty, at the time, that was his wife, a part in my movie. I was also at the same time producing and writing film for Charles Band. At the same time, I was working on Star Trek. So he was very, very grateful for that. Now, with Sigourney Weaver, I had to work very, very close with her, and I'm very close because I'm the guy who's stuck inside the armchair reaching out.
That was you?
And I can tell you a lot of stories about that, but one of the best is there were 3 different chairs, and this was the chair where we call the hero chair. There were no breakaways or anything on it. I was stuffed down inside. The only breakaway before we bust through the arm. Arms are removable so that Ivan, the director, and Sigourney could have conversations with me and the 2 other puppeteers there. We kept doing the scene over and over again. It took actually 4 days to shoot that whole sequence.
Holy moly.
Wow.
It was a big production. It was a huge production. And so I would keep hitting her in the face and shoving her head back. And Sigourney asked me, she said, "Could you do it for real?" And I said, "What do you mean? You mean like all my might was like if I was that monster at arm?" She said, "Exactly." I said, "These claws are dental acrylic. They're going to scratch and bruise your face." I don't care. Because I can't possibly act myself being thrown back into the chair as realistically as if it's actually happening. And I go, "You understand that I'm going to hurt you?" And she said, "Yes, and that's fine. That's my job. That's what I do. I'm an actress, and that's fine. So don't worry about it." Ivan's looking at me. He's got this sort of goop look on his face, which he always has. And he says, "Go ahead. She likes it."
Dedication to the craft.
Yeah, but she was dedicated, and she was really grateful and pleasant as could be. And I was working at Boss Films when we were doing all that stuff. And what I really wanted to work on was 2010, which is the next room over. But
another one of my favorite films, right?
That's another story. But she came down she said she'd come down to visit all the makeup people. She liked them so much, and she actually did it. She came down to the shop, and she hugged everybody and visited everybody, and she was just terrific. So I found that part was really, really nice. Rick Moranis was very quiet.
I've heard that. They're very, very studious.
Yeah, because I had to work with him a bunch too. Because that whole party scene with the terror dog, I was called the master puppeteer. The master puppeteer, I became that because Ivan Reitman liked working with. So he wanted me to communicate to the puppeteers. We had headsets in those days. The puppeteers were under the set, bullet holes to make the terror dog function, and I would have to relay his direction on top of the stage, on the floor of the party, to them of what to do. That was a lot of fun. And then another time, I was actually we had just pickup shots in the terror dog suit when Rick Moranis says, "You want a milk bone?" and it raises up. That's me in the suit. There's other scenes where the claws break out of the statue, and that was me puppeteering, and I was up actually inside the statue. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't Star Trek.
No, no, it wasn't. But still, how very cool.
When you were doing Ghostbusters, I mean, you always, hope that a movie will be a hit. But did you see that it would be what it became? I mean, that was one of the top movies of 1984, and to this day still resonates. I mean, people still quote Ghostbusters. I know I do.
Sure, I do too. I mean, just the other day, I was asked if I would work on a model that I really didn't like, a star model. I said, I'll believe in anything that's got a good paycheck in it, so or a steady gig, yeah. But no, I think we all knew. I mean, with a cast like that, I'm writing, directing, and
it was the right film at the right time. That's for sure.
The right time, and the effects were so far ahead of their time. Everything that we were doing we were pushing it to the absolute edge, and that went for the stuff that Richard Edlund was doing with visual effects as well. All the miniature work in that, the stage work. I mean, I knew we were in for it when I went to, I guess it was Universal's where the stage was that they had for the top of the apartment building with all the big giant statues and everything. I mean, it was just, man, they built the whole thing. There was sitting on a stage. It was so impressive, so well built. And then the insides of the apartment there was, once you were inside it, it felt like you were in the New York apartment building. It was just very thorough. The work was very, very well done. The props, everything. So yeah, we all knew that it would be a pretty big hit.
I fell in love with Annie Potts in that too.
Well,
is Ghostbusters? You're not working on Ghostbusters? No, he can't say. Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, I've been saying that I'm not working on Ghostbusters. No, I'm not.
Do you know that I've heard that they're not doing it? I've heard they are doing it because Bill Murray won't approve it. Do you know?
I've heard much as you. I have. And, none of the old crew have been asked back. So that's really typical. I mean, that's what's happened with new Star Trek with JJ. He's kind of taken an eraser and just erased us all out, including Gene Roddenberry doing his own thing. But he'll get bored of it, and then we'll get it back again. I hope.
Okay, that's all we needed to hear.
Okay.
That's all we needed to hear. That was perfect.
I'm not going to comment much more on it. I think you know where I'm going with it, though.
Do we ever? And all I have to say is I love you even more.
I would like extremely loyal because he was extremely loyal to us.
Right. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I have a question to ask, kind of about where your career moved from makeup. Did it go from makeup into modeling at that point, or how did you become involved in the modeling aspect?
Well, what happened to my career is it just kind of petered out. And with the advent of CGI and all the stuff that was going on, and so much of the work, if you wanted to keep a job, you needed to go to either Canada or New Zealand, and I was unwilling to do either one of those things because, I was married at the time and had a family, and I just didn't want to leave it for 3 years, go somewhere else to my career going. So I hoped that I could stay here and keep my shop going, take on odd TV commercials and stuff, and I did for a long time. I did a lot of good stuff, and it just kind of petered out. So I started taking up CGI, and I did some work for the History Channel and for some other companies, and I kind of kept going. But then I always loved models, so I started pursuing that more and more and more, and kind of one thing led to another, and I started doing radio-controlled submarines. I'd already been flying remote-controlled planes. I made a lot of radio-controlled airplane kits, jet kits, which kept me money for a while, but none of it really worked for me. Really, where it started for me with this whole model thing was really only about 2 years ago, and I had a great loss in my life, and I needed something to get focused on to keep me on the straight and narrow, and I had always wanted to build a very large model of the original Starship Enterprise, which was always my favorite, and always best to this day. And so I decided to do it, and I scratch built every single part of it and made all the molds, and I had a lot of support from Doug Drexler, who's a very good near and dear close friend, and Michael Kuda, Gary Kerr, responsible for making plans off the Smithsonian model. And I kept working on it, and I documented what I was doing blow by blow as a video on YouTube. And it went all the way to completion. The finished model all lit up with the bizarre collectors turning and firing and the whole bit. And it kept its audience, because what I found was that, and JJ could listen to this, is that the dedication, the loyalty, and the love of the original series, and mostly the original ship that Matt Jeffries designed, is still to this day the most popular spaceship ever made in the history of film. That ship launched more astronauts, more scientists, more astrophysicists, doctors, and so much of all the technology and all the things we've done today, including getting to the moon, was inspired by that Star Trek series, inspired by that ship. And those people are still out there, and it just started a whole thing. I started doing Steve Neill's Garage. That was Doug Dreck's design. So you got to give it a name. You got to call it Steve Neill's Garage. We were doing work on Space Command at the time before we had a falling out of the project, and that's where Steve Neill's Garage started. And I was doing the spacesuits, working with Dan Probert, who's a great designer of the Enterprise D and the refit, so many other things. And after we stopped being involved with Space Command, spacesuits were kind of put to rest, and I started getting calls from people who wanted my Enterprise. So, I built a few kits, and then other people said, I have this kit, I haven't built. How much? And how long would it take to do? I want to fly it. And this one thing led to another. I have more work than I know to do. I'm almost stressed out and crazy at this point. Because I'm working on this model of USS Reliant that
I saw the video.
I bit off way more than I chewed. Anyway, it's a model small. And the client is wonderful. I love Al. He wants everything in, the hangar bays, with the tracer lights on the runways, the photon torpedoes have fire, everything, all the strobes, all the nav lights, all the windows, everything in that little, to me, small model has been a real challenge. So
it looks beautiful, though. I think it's really cool to watch. For our listeners, if you are interested in watching any of the videos that Steve Neill makes, he has his own channel that you can subscribe to on YouTube. Pretty much, I think it's Dark U-Boot.
Yeah.
Is that your username?
Yeah.
Or you can...
Just Steve Neill will work, too.
Right. Steve Neill will work if you search in YouTube for it. And you can also go to sneillfx.com. And I think he's got a link there to Steve Neill's Garage. And you're up to episode 216.
Yeah, that does get down about... I guess I have over 500 videos on the channel now. 216 is of Steve Neill's Garage.
Wow.
That's amazing. Oh, they're so much fun to watch. I learned so much about your art and about your craft, and just by watching you work, and I want you to say that I really do appreciate you putting those things up there because, like I said, I enjoy learning something new every day, and I do learn something from watching your stuff, and not just because of Star Trek, but because I really do enjoy watching an artist work. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of the things that you worked on is one of the all-time, to me, this is me speaking, one of the all-time classic commercials was Mac Tonight for McDonald's. That, to this day, I still remember that singing Big Mac Tonight.
Are you talking about the moon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Steve Neill sculpted and created the face.
And we puppeteered it. My wife and Bob Burns and myself did the actual puppeteering for it for years. Also, most people don't know this, but Doug Jones, the now famous Doug Jones, is the guy inside the costume.
Oh.
Yeah, from Pan's Labyrinth and all the other films.
Right.
All these arms.
Oh, yeah. So that was a long...
Well, I have to ask your question and your opinion on something. You brought it up about the model versus CGI thing. Now, do you also do CGI work now, or do you prefer to not to?
I am a well-acquainted CGI. I work in lightweight. I do modeling, composites, a bit of animation, and I've been doing it for a very long time. I haven't done much lately, but before my wife passed away, I've been working on a 30-minute short film that was just done for fun, called Star Trek Sirius, and there is a website for it that you go to and see the work. But when she got sick with cancer, we stopped working on it for obvious reasons. We're hoping to get back to it. The website is makestarshipsnotwar.com.
Well, that'll be a link that'll go on the site.
It also should be a bumper sticker, because, come on, planet Earth.
Yeah.
Enough. We really do need to make starships.war.com. So, but there's a short trailer there. There'll be a newer one up the road, because I've done more work on it where I can. But I actively produced, with the help of some friends and fan friends who did the graphics for the background, my friend Will, for all the screens, a pretty much studio accurate bridge of the old Enterprise, and we also built the captain's chair, which is totally screen accurate, a real one, because I couldn't sit on the bridge in the CGI chair, so I built the real thing. And you'll see me with Rosie on the bridge.
Rosie the Wonder Dog. Do you people, just so you know.
And
Yes.
I've had fans write to me and say, Scott, somebody who has these sets on the West Coast. And I said, no, they're CGI. And it's like, no way, that can't be CGI. Tell it's not true. It's like, I think they look like they're CGI, but that's because I did them. And I know there's some stuff that's unfinished. But overall, yeah, they look pretty good. The hardest part, the lighting right, and the texture's right. And it just took doing it over and over and over and over and over and over. It's just how it works until it was tuned in. You can see the trailer on that site, and you'll see the work that was done in it. What we're doing now is just trying to get the effects done for it. So
Right on.
my wife's voice is in it. The English voice is the voice of the tutor.
Oh, that's great. Well, we'll take a real quick stop here, and just to say that we do want to send our condolences to you on the loss of your wife, Ginny. We were all following you throughout the entire illness, and we do want to say that we love you, and we were there with you in spirit.
Thank you very much.
Now, I guess my only question about models versus CGI is, as a person who has done both, which do you actually prefer to see in entertainment? Do you prefer to see models or CGI?
Well, I'll tell you, to be completely honest, I don't really care. I really, no, I mean, and Doug would love to say this, because Doug comes from Aspects background just like I do. But you have also up front, correct?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Did you really notice or care whether those were real models or CGI?
No.
That's my answer. I mean, that was so jaw-dropping beautiful, and those models did not look like CGI, even though I knew they were. Because, I was over at Doug's house, he was showing me little things behind the scenes of what they were working on and everything. And when it's that good, and there's a reason why it's that good. Again, Doug, Gary come from a practical effects background. These guys do the best CGI because what they're trying to do is bring what they did on those sound stages with all those models and stuff for Star Trek all those years ago.
Right.
They're using the tools of CG to create exactly the same thing. And
Priority 1 message Starfleet.
that's exactly what they're trying to do, and that's exactly what they have done. Now, you go out and look at some other films done today, and although the work might be pretty and interesting and stuff, it looks like CG. It doesn't look good. It just, and that would make anyone say, you need to go back to practical effects. But that's not the case. It's up to the artist, not the tools.
Good special effects you should see it and not realize it's a special effect.
Yeah.
Whether it's CGI or not.
I was watching Blood and Call. I just didn't care. I just wanted to see more. Like a big sci-fi channel drag themselves around and not do more with it when there's definitely a fan base to support it. I never watched.
Get us started.
Yeah, well, I never watched Battlestar Galactica, the new show. I never watched it. And when Doug found that out, I was like, "You're kidding me! You gotta see it." I said, "Well, I never liked that original show. It's so hokey." And he said, "No, that's not what the
Oh yeah, so different.
He wanted to do the Star Trek thing, and the networks wouldn't let him do it back then. You gotta see the show." So I went out and I got the entire all 4 seasons. My friend Ted, Uncle Ted, who works with me, he brought him over here, which was the last thing that Julie and I ever did together, was watch that from beginning to end, all the way through every night. We watched 1 or 2 episodes, maybe sometimes 3, and we were just riveted. I never thought I would ever see anything I liked as much as Star Trek or Outer Limits, that kind of thing. I was just so blown away, but the parallel of that show to my own life, to her life, was really quite striking and difficult to take, and I'm surprised that she finished watching the show, because really she was my Madam President in every thing.
Oh,
Terry has not seen Battlestar.
I know the end, though. I certainly know all about the characters of it. Trust me. I'm one of those people. Remember, I told you, it's not about. I will read everything, so I know exactly what happened, and I was just as riveted as to what was going on with her as everybody else was. I just was one of those people. I couldn't watch it. So, and it was just because I knew I wouldn't be able to separate myself out from it. But that's truly, that's saying something right there.
It's one of the best things that's ever been on television or any screen ever, as far as I'm concerned. And Doug was really pleased to hear that, because Doug and I sync up a lot. I think we were separated at birth. I mean, we're only we're only a few days apart. We're both born in 52.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're both born in 1952.
It's okay. You're only a couple years older than me.
Anyway, but the other thing is so strange about it. I was talking to Ed about it the other day, Matt here. I said, here he is on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. We're born at the same time. He studies under Dick Smith. I study under John Chambers. We both didn't want to do makeup, ultimately in the end, and had all these same interests. It's just it's fascinating. It really is. It's just fascinating.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you two collaborate often on projects, or do you two collaborate on projects from time to time?
Yes, we are doing that now, but again, I'm not everybody just looked at.
So we'll tap dance around that.
Well, I'll quickly shift the focus then. The audience is going to laugh because it's the first time I've actually admitted to geeking out talking to someone. Well, aside from Misha Day, that was different. You were talking earlier about working with Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver. You also did visual effects on one of my favorite movies of my high school years, Fright Night, with the amazing Chris Sarandon, and Roddy McDowall. And you also a movie that I think it was the first VHS I ever rented was Battle Beyond the Stars. It's somewhere in my storage unit. I still have my VHS of Battle Beyond the Stars, which I still see that ship show up in other movies. They steal your effects.
Yeah, well, that's common play, common practice. That's why Stanley Kubrick had everything destroyed in 2001. He didn't want any of it to be reused, and he was a smart man. But yeah, they do that all the time. The great thing about working on that film is that's where I got to know Jim Cameron. He was just a flunky like the rest of us, and Bob and Denny Sokotak, who were probably the two greatest practical effects men ever in Hollywood, and two really nice guys. And let's not forget that Denny is married to DC Fontana, who was here at my birthday party.
I saw that.
Yeah, and how much she wrote on my card, live long and prosper. She's quite a character. I really like her. But a lot of exposure to great people came out of working at Corman's. That was the first film I ever did for Roger. Not to mention meeting Robert Vaughn and all those other great actors. They were all fun to work with. But I went on from that to do a whole bunch of other stuff as a result of that movie.
When you see something like Fright Night get redone, rebooted, whatever you want to call it, that was a movie I never. It didn't need it.
Most of them don't. No matter how old they are, you really don't. I mean, they're going to remake 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, there's a movie that doesn't need it, but they're going to do it because Hollywood is not into taking risks. They only want to produce things that are sure, what they think are sure best, which is why we're being deprived of a lot of rich material.
Agreed.
It's really sad. But on Fright Night, that wasn't the first time I worked with Roddy. I'd worked with him on Laser Blast and a number of other good films, and we got to be kind of friends. We were always running into each other, always on films. And he was one of the most delightful beings on this planet. He was really, and he's one of us. He's a real film geek and a real film collector, and we would just sit while we're waiting to do our scenes, for hours talking about movies. He was a terrific being. Sarandon was very, very nice. They were all, and that was a nice experience working on that film.
It's funny because Chris Sarandon is like three of I would put in my top 15 movies. Fright Night, Dog Day Afternoon, which I thought he was just unbelievable in, and of course Princess Bride.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll be there. And after that, I came very close with, and it was a privilege to work with, was Alan Reed. And I think history's got to him wrong, at least not for having on, because yes, he's a brawler, drinker, and all these things, but he was a really good-hearted human being, and he was a very, very intelligent man, and he was always on the side of the underdog. He helped the little ladies across the street. Really did. I watched him do it. He took me out on my birthday, and it's probably the most memorable birthday I've ever had. It was a night on the town with all the Reed at 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was, if I was to liken him to any of the characters he portrayed in movies, it would probably be Gladiator. That was really kind of the real guy.
And that was his last film,
yeah, ironically. It brought tears to my eyes because, I was watching it and I just knew that would be the last time I'd ever see him, and he was just so nice, and he really made me feel special, and I had such a good time. I have so many stories that would curl your hair about being.
See, I think of him from Tom.
Yeah, well, he, the part that you don't see him portrayed as being in a lot of his movies is highly intellectual. And he was. He had a very high IQ. He was very well read. He had a lot of culture. But he liked to hang with the real people. He liked to go to the local bar, not the Montage. And we did go to the Montage on my birthday. I remember going up the elevator. He didn't have a shirt. The shirt he had on had makeup on it. Removing his makeup. So literally in the elevator, guy in there, the guy said, "Hey, you're Oliver Reed." "Yeah, that's right. I need your shirt. I'll buy it off you." And he did. He bought the guy's shirt. Something happened. Then they wouldn't let us in Montage because of me. I was not dressed. So $100 bills kept coming out of his pocket while I went in. And I sit there and I'm looking around and I see a face up. It's Gene Hackman. And I had met Gene on the set of the station. I used to be friends with Francis Ford Coppola. That's where I got my real start, was at the American Zoetrope. Another story, but I saw Gene and he kind of recognized me, and I said to Oliver, "Is that Gene Hackman?" He goes, "It sure is." It was so funny because Oliver forgot about it. He went over there and you could just see this look of horror in that face, but he dragged him over to the table and he sat with him for quite a while and had a drink.
Oh, that's nice.
So I've had, that part of Hollywood is really good. I have so many wonderful memories like that, being with Gene Roddenberry, Robert Wise, and that kind of stuff. They last all my days that I have.
Oh, Terry, you have to take it because he said he's friends with Francis Ford Coppola, and I'm Italian, and The Godfather.
See, and although I appreciate the man, if there's anything that I'm all about is wine, and I can't help myself there.
That is amazing wine. You're right. Remember I told you I had that his Chardonnay.
Honey, I've spent way too many days at the Coppola Winery. So I will pick up and run with it from there. I am, again, I'm just so tickled. What was it about? Let's kind of move over to Star Trek and say, what are some of your favorite memories of working on Star Trek?
Well,
other than Mr. Nimoy. I mean, that one was amazing.
Yeah, well,
I know it can't have been the universe.
No, I was in the work. And I missed out not getting to work on second because right now one of those uniforms from Wrath of Khan is being made to tailor this moment we speak.
Very nice.
My friend John Broughton does start but that's another story, but those uniforms are fantastic. But, they were getting a beat up first picture. It's always that way. But,
what do they call those? They call those the big red. There's like a term for them now.
Well, we call them boxes,
Yeah.
But they're really neat. They're what they should have been in the first picture. But again, they're trying to get it together. What they did get right in the first picture, Enterprise, thanks to Andy Prober, who is another good friend. But I'd have to say that, really that was my favorite moment on Star Trek was Fred, first of all, asked me if I wanted to work on Star Trek.
No kidding.
And doing Leonard's Years. And then when I was asked to do that other Alien, Fred said, you got a meeting. I said, I have a meeting with who? He said, with Gene and with Robert. That was only in my mid to 27 then, and I was just scared to death. I mean, I had to go into a meeting with Gene Roddenberry and Robert Wise, and I did. They were both sitting behind the desk, and they were so nice to me. Gene already knew me because I had met him going to the convention before that, and he was very approachable. Both him and Neill were very, very nice and very approachable, so I got to know them. So, when they came in, Gene could see I was nervous and tried to make comfortable. And then we had a serious talk about aliens on the bridge and what some of the aliens would look like and stuff. And so that was a really great moment. Another great moment was Gene coming in to Fred Phillips and saying, look, we got some money this time. I want to do something with the Klingons. Gene always wanted to have the Klingons have more makeup on them, prosthetics, something that they did in the original show. In fact, for the original show, he wanted that, but the budget wouldn't allow for it. Fine. There was such a schedule to get those done.
Right.
So he's talking to Fred, he always has this idea about the spine continuing with the Klingon, unlike a human being, up the neck, over the top of the head, down the forehead. He said, Fred, do something like that. This is how the Klingons that we know today were born. Fred said, yeah, I could do that. And so I forget the actor, I don't think it was one of the ones they actually worked with, but they had an actor there. Fred put a ball cap on. I sat and just watched do this. He put the ball cap, let the ball cap in, then he took mortician's wax, and he built up like a vertebrae spine type of thing that went all the way across the top of the head, down onto the nose. And my friend Rick Stratton, my good friend Rick Stratton, who also worked in Star Trek motion picture with me, made some teeth, the pointy jagged teeth and stuff, and then Fred laid in hair by hand on, and it looked pretty much like you saw at the beginning of the movie. I mean, it was pretty close to that. Once Gene saw that, I remember thinking, yeah, that's it. That's what I want. So we immediately started working on. My friend Mark Siegel had this system of working with polyurethane foam and not foam latex that we were using at Universal during the Land of a Thousand Faces. We were working at.
Oh boy, do I remember that.
I brought a lot of my friends in on Star Trek to work there because they all had these skills. We had a really tight schedule to do the film, to do the Klingon makeup, so we went out of polyurethane. It never been done before. Rick Strat and Mark sculpted the forehead pieces, and Rick made the teeth, and Mark ran all the foam and everything, and then those are the makeups that you saw getting, and that's how the Klingons were born.
Wow.
And
I was going to say, and now Michael is geeking out.
Yeah.
I know. See, Mike is a Klingon, so.
Cool. Geeking on that. You know, I was working on other alien background aliens and stuff, but I was right there when all that was happening. Just witnessing that moment of Gene, who was very tall, coming in saying to Fred, I want this, and then I see this. And at the time, it didn't mean a lot to me. I thought, well, it's really kind of cool. But when I look back at it now, I think to myself, how many people were in that room when that moment happened? And there weren't many. There was Fred, there was Rick Strat, there was myself, Gene, like four of us. That was the moment Klingons we know today were born. So that was a real special moment.
Wow. And since then, you know, what happened in that room, you know, had changed the Klingons forever. We saw so much of them in TNG and Deep Space Nine. Wow. Wow.
And of course, for our audience, a bit of trivia, which some of our audience may know, some may not. The Klingon commander at the beginning of Star Trek The Motion Picture, played by Mark Leonard, who also played Sarek. And the Romulan commander, he played three different aliens of Star Trek, which at that time was huge.
And the Balance of Terror, first time saw it.
That's right.
As it was.
That's right.
Could have called
Well, Nick, do we have? I mean, I figured that we could modify our James Lipton questions for Mr.
I have one quick question before we move on.
Go for it, of course.
Tell us about Rosie.
Well, I'm saving my life right now. I'm watching Overdue. We got her in 2011, New Year's Day. My wife, who didn't know that she had cancer again at that time, she felt that she did, so she was very reluctant to get into the dog after we lost Puka, lived to be 16. We were pretty heartbroken about that. This is 4 months later, but I just can't live without a dog, and such a big. I had been hunting for him on the internet. She knew, and I found a picture that sent a little message to me when I looked at it, and I said, "That's the dog. That's the dog." Well, my wife had a read right around that time that little girl at the door who was holding a black puppy, very much like Rosie with a white spot on her chest a little bit. The puppy spoke to her and said, "Hello, my name's Rosie." She kind of folded, and we went. I showed the pictures of Rosie, and she was quite taken back by it. Said, "All right, let's go get her." And so that was probably the best years I ever had. What got Rosie, and I've had her for a little over 2 years now, and she's just terrific. She's pit bull and German Shepherd. She's a mix.
Good stuff.
The dog we
She's the cutest damn dog.
The dog we had before was the same mix, and looked very similar, but she had floppy ears, Puka, and Rosie's got those pointed ears. So
very cool. Very good. Thank you.
Well, she's one of the reasons why I really do like tuning into Steve Neill's Garage too, just to see Rose pop in every so often.
And she swims a lot too.
Well, we have, because we primarily interview writers, we have a series of questions we've done up. We call them our James Lipton questions.
Okay.
Like he does at the end of Inside the Actor's Studio.
Right.
But I can modify them here on the fly for you. Now, you said you're a Star Trek fan. What is your favorite Trek series out of all 5 series?
Oh, boy. That's a tough one.
I know, we're mean with these, just so you know.
Oh, no. Well, I guess I'd have to say Next Generation, especially when we got towards the last 2 seasons. It really became a very rich, meaningful show. I also really like Voyager a lot. My wife and I used to watch it a lot. It's a show that no one ever really gave a chance past the first season, and that's happens a lot with Star Trek shows. It was very rich as well. But I guess really, if I had to pick, I'd have to say The Next Generation, which I got to work on pilot. That was another Star Trek experience I didn't talk about, but and she got to work on it with me, Joey.
Encounter PowerPoint?
Yeah, we worked on that.
Very cool.
And I got to walk all all the sets, and because Gene still very much remembered me and gave me a pass, which allowed me to go anywhere I wanted to on the sets at any time I wanted. So that was really a neat thing. But Adam, okay, well, I'm not going to say anything else, Kate, 'cause I might answer another question, so I'll just shut up.
Well, I think it'll be interesting coming from your background with makeup and special effects and all. If you could be any species in Trek other than human, which one would you be?
Oh, well, my wife kicked this one, but I guess I'd have to say, Vulcan, I would imagine, but there's this other side of me, and we have both sides as human beings. Who would be Klingon, of course. No.
See, he said Vulcan, and I really thought he was going to go where I was hoping he would go.
No.
I'm Romulan, so.
Well, we can learn a lot from philosophy here on the planet.
Yeah.
It's okay, Steve. Somebody asked me that question once. I still haven't been able to get myself off of Ryza. I'm Ryzian all the way.
No, I really appreciate Vulcans. I also appreciate the Klingons. I think a balance somewhere between the two is the right place to be. Maybe that's
the balance between the two would be Romulan.
Perhaps. I never did like the things on their forehead.
Right on.
Go. All right, Nick.
I'm trying to modify this as I go. Now, here, I'll modify this one. Now, if there's a film coming out that someone you know has worked on either CGI or in the off chance that they're doing modeling or makeup, who would you go see their work in the movies? When
Just
it's
because
released?
they're working on it.
Yeah.
Dr. Excellent.
Yeah.
It was.
He does good work.
You think, Mike? You think?
Yeah.
Is there a genre you have not worked on in film that you would love to try?
Gee, that is nice, but I don't really think there is. I've worked on so many of them, from just straight storytelling to sci-fi to horror to mystery. I even worked on the secret files of J. Edgar Hoover. So no, there really isn't. And the one, of course, is my most favorite is science fiction, and I've been able to do that a great deal.
I'm always surprised when we ask this of the authors, how many of them would love write a Western?
Well, I worked on a Western, too, with Christopher Walken. It's the next movie I ever did.
Right on.
Now, you go ahead.
I was Chris's personal makeup artist. That was a very trying period in my life. But I learned a lot of strange human being that he is.
Now, if you were a captain in Star, the name of your ship would be the USS...
Serious. The Dog Star.
Like the Dog Star.
That's correct.
That's good. We've never got
Isn't that the name of the ship in
Star Trek Sirius?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sure.
Now, you mentioned Star Trek Farragut, which is funny. I'm looking at my shelf across from me, and I've got the DVDs of that. Are you a fan of productions like Star Trek Phase 2 and Farragut and things like that?
I really enjoy what these guys are doing. It's the passion and the detailed work that they're doing to recreate the sets and stuff is no matter what the outcome, ultimately what they're doing that's not what it's about. What it's about is their love for the show and preserving a past history. Because right now, you can go take a trip and walk on the sets just like they were at Desilu all those years ago. And I just think that's so neat, and just the props, the uniforms they make, everything are so well done. You gotta love what these guys are doing.
Do you think that with the home computer and CGI that people can just create themselves now, that it's a new renaissance for younger people coming up to get into the things that you love to do?
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, you have to be able to use software and be able to run machines. And it's not that hard. I don't just, maybe it's just me, but I found when I first got Lightwave, within a matter of days, I was making things and having to move across the screen. And it's a domino effect. The more you do, the more you want to do. It's a way to be completely creative and have an entire universe that you alone control the outcome on. And that's what these machines done for us. I wish that there was more focus on what some of these individual artists are doing more than there is today. Hollywood's kind of whitewashed with their cubicles full of people doing stuff, but there are some people out there doing incredible work all on their own. And yes, it is a renaissance.
What do you think of Pixar?
Well, A good friend of mine works there. In fact, Mark Siegel, I talked about before, we've been friends for years in Star Trek, motion picture. He worked me on Fright Night, Ghostbusters. As friends, we would always pull each other in on shows. Happen. He's up in the area. He works for Pixar. He's about to hire. And I've seen some of their stuff. Really not the kind of thing that I watch. But when I have been asked and/or forced to watch it, I found them quite charming. Really well done.
That is a fair answer.
Yeah.
Now, this one is usually the final one we ask the authors, but I think it would be interesting from your perspective, from your background. If you were given the chance to create the death scene for a major Star Trek canon character, who would you pick to do the work on for that?
Jeez. Well, that would have to be Captain Picard.
There's two.
Very cool.
Because here you have a character who I don't think you can find any on the face of the planet who doesn't love that character, love that human being, that man. So to actually see him pass away would be really something quite challenging to do. I mean, we saw it with William Shatner in Generations. Mm-hmm. The way it was handled, I didn't find it really hard to take, but I think I find it hard to take with Patrick because he's just such a neat guy.
I like that answer, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just because I know that if there's anybody who could pull off, breaking my heart, it would be him.
He's just one of the finest actors on the planet. But at the same time, if you know anything about the man, he is so much himself, so much like that character. And his culture, his intelligence, his sensitivity.
My husband was lucky enough to take a workshop from him back in '87 when he was in LA had been in LA and had kind of was there to audition for the part role. No, it's okay. I love that though. And he said the same thing. Of course, now looking back on it, he only knew him as the guy from Royal Shake and Excalibur.
Funny he had hair in that movie.
I know.
Now, the big thing, is that, in this era right now, for the first time, really ever, men are quite accepted as not having hair, being quite handsome or even sexy. And I really think
Thank you very much.
is practically solely responsible for that. Because,
I think you're right.
Because people are just so much in love with him. And really, a lot of men and even producers and people in Hollywood couldn't understand it. Well, he's not particularly handsome. No, you're missing the whole point, guys.
I think between him and Bruce Willis.
Yeah, well, Bruce was good bald. Yeah, definitely. I don't look good bald, but the time things are going, I'll know pretty soon.
I shaved my head before I went back to Iraq, so I rock the Picard look. Now, I do have a question for you, because we've never had someone on that could answer this for us. Please talk to us about Majel Barrett, because we just love her so much. What she was like.
I always had a crush on her, to be quite honest. And that lovely picture of her as number one that I think we've all seen on the internet that's quite high resolution, I think says it all. You know the picture. It was pictures that were taken when we were doing the first pilot, the very first pilot. She is highly intelligent, very strong-willed woman, very, very, you didn't mess with her. She's definitely the type to get her way. She was very firm, but at the same time, you couldn't help but love her. There was just something about her that was so distinguished. She was special. That's the only way I put it.
And she really did love the fans, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And I could say that absolutely, because when I first went to Joe Trimble's EquiCon, it was probably the second or third EquiCon I went to. I was doing prosthetic ears, and I was putting the ears on people who would line up literally around my table to buy them. They didn't want to just have them, wanted me to put them on. It was an extra amount of money to do that, so I would put them on. And Neill came over and talked to me. She pulled me aside and said, I really think what you're doing is very, very good, and I really like it, and I have no problem with it. I'm word to wise. Call them just pointed ears. Don't call them stock ears. And the fact that she took time out to come over and tell me that, and that's how I met her. Yeah, and then numerous other convention times with Joe Trimble, I would run into her, because Gene and Neill were friends with Bijo, because Bijo was really the first of her kind. She started the Renaissance Fair, and she started Star Trek conventions. She was the one. And I got to see Neill and Gene with the fans, and they never avoided. They never avoided, because they were both smart enough to know the reason that Star Trek is everlasting is because of the fans. Thus, so are they. Okay. So, but there's been people who worked at Star Trek who have put the fans down, and, they might as well just jump in the coffin and bury themselves, because that's the, without the passion the fans have for subject matter, never would have got to it. We never would have had Star Trek movies. We never would have had all the Star Trek series we've had. And, none of us would have been able to put the roof over our head or pay our bills. We all of us, is the people who did the smaller stuff like myself, to the larger actors, producers, all owe it to the fans for our very survival of being. And I think people need to remember that. Yeah.
I think that's a fabulous place to kind of tie things up.
Yes. Sir, Mr. Neill, we cannot begin here to thank you enough. You, in an hour of conversation, covered some of my favorite movies of all time. And oh my God, some of the things you worked on, it just blows my mind.
And we're also really excited to find out what the next project is that you are working on.
Sigourney Weaver.
Project. I can't talk about either one. It's killing me because they will come to fruition soon enough. I would imagine you're gonna know, and you'll hear about it. So hey, that's what he was talking about.
Then expect another email from us asking this to you to return so we can have you talk about those projects. That would be great.
Definitely.
Oh no! You have no idea. We're thrilled that you were able to join us. Nick, do you want to tie things up for the audio?
Sure. Once again, this is a GNT supplemental log, and we would love to just thank Steve Neill enough. I think this is the first time our audience seen us on our knees bowing. We're not worried.
Seriously.
So thank you again so much, sir, and everyone enjoyed the rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next supplemental log. Michael? Joe Lontrue.
Live long and prosper.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5-Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
GNT Show is a Busy Little Beaver production.